Okay, so this one might start out a little boring today, but hopefully it'll be a more exciting project coming up. Gonna get some stuff ready today, so tomorrow morning we can run out and go to Pasadena, Maryland, and pick up a new project. Should be a fun one. Something I've never owned anything like it. Should be fun, but we'll talk about that when we go to pick it up. But for now, let's get the PJ trailer moved over to the house, get the Cutlass off of it, and get air in the tires, make sure everything's good to go on it, and get it ready to go pick up the new project tomorrow. Alright. Try this one without the external mic since it's windy today. We'll see how that works. Hopefully it's better, but I have a feeling the phone's not going to pick up sound from this far away, but we'll see. Okay, hopefully the wind died down enough now where I can use this other microphone. But let's do a walk around of the Cutlass. It's a future project. It was a deal I couldn't pass up from a buddy of mine. So it'll potentially be a LS swapped lowrider, most likely. That's the idea for now. But let's walk around and take a peek. It's the only bad spot on the body. A previous bad repair. The mud doesn't seem very thick though. I think it was a dent that they had fixed that they just did a poor job fixing. A little rust in the rear bumper, pretty typical for all of them. A little rust in the trunk lid, not the trunk itself. The trunk is pretty good. Floors are actually pretty amazing. Car's actually rust free. It's set for I want to say he said close to 20 some years in his stepfather's backyard. It's got a 307. I think they said it had a bad head gasket when it was parked, or that's why it was parked. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to try to start it yet, but I did hook a battery up to it, and it tried to turn over as soon as I hooked the battery up, and I found that the starter solenoid wires going to the starter were all chewed up, so it was shorting itself out. Needs to be, I haven't cleaned the interior or anything yet. Like, this is exactly how I found it, other than a little bit of trash I've added to it from changing the ignition cylinder. And it says it has 56,000 miles, so it's probably 156, but it might be 56. But the interior is in pretty good shape for the most part, and a good cleaning, and it could be nice again. I'll try to add some pictures of how it was sitting when we got it. It was the wheels were halfway sunken into the dirt, and the frame was probably a ½ inch off the ground. And surprisingly, there's zero rust underneath of it. Let's take a look at the PJ trailer while we're looking at things. It's a E5 buggy hauler PJ trailer with drive over fenders. I added a winch to it and toolbox. That's about it. But I also have a nice little setup for the winch that I can use the truck battery with a long extension cable that I can use as jumper cables or whatever. That everything has Anderson connectors on it. It's a nice little setup. Seems to be working really well, and I don't have to worry about a battery being charged on the trailer or not. So let's take a peek real quick. It's got the jacks on the back, which I thought was a silly option when I bought the trailer, but they've actually come in handy loading up some real heavy stuff. It's 10,000 pound rated. The only problem I've had with it so far is the doors that hold the ramps in. The hinges rusted and snapped the doors off. So until I stop being lazy and make new doors, a strap holds them in just fine. I never put anything on the wood, so the wood's starting to show some signs of rot here and there, but it's not bad yet. A couple more years out of it before we change the wood out. I made it's probably hard to see, but I made the winch mount so it all bolts onto the trailer, but it also is a receiver type winch mount, so then I can use it on the truck or something else if I need to. It doesn't have to be just stuck to the trailer. And a little Harbor Freight toolbox. Holds all my straps. All that. Oh, there's a cable that I was talking about I used. I just got another Anderson connector there in the truck with a short lead on it and connected to the auxiliary battery, I think, on the Sturmax. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm parked on ramps, it was just because it's hard to see in the driveway, but it's a hill, or not a hill, but a low spot where the truck's parked, and I knew I wouldn't be able to push the cutlass off the trailer where it was at, so I wanted to get the truck on an incline, or the trailer on an incline, to help unloading it so gravity could do its job. But that's it. Alright, it's the next morning. We're getting ready to head up to Pasadena, Maryland to go check out this project. Hopefully it's what I was expecting. I think it will be. I've always kind of wanted one of these. Well, I've wanted one of the American versions of one. And then once I learned about the JDM version that you can actually import into the States, I wanted one of those even more. So we're going to go look at one today, and hopefully it works out. If not, we'll find another one. But I'm pretty sure it'll work out. All right. Okay, well, I was too embarrassed and also excited just because we'd just gotten there to look at this thing. But here it is. It's a 1995 Suzuki Jimny. It's right-hand drive, 3-cylinder, automatic, turbo, 102,000 miles. Really solid vehicle. It's only got a few little tiny rust bubbles in some small spots, but nothing major, nothing to worry about. Runs pretty good, and I'll talk about it more a little bit later, but here it is. I picked this Jimny up from a guy named Josh that runs 8404 Imports in Pasadena, Maryland. And one thing I will say I like that he does is he brings them in and sells them honest. He imports them in from Japan, doesn't clean them up and polish them up so it looks like it's something better than it is. He sells them the way they came. I think he just washes them and posts them up for sale. He's a good dude, and I would definitely buy something from him again and would highly recommend him.
Can you hold it?
Yeah, there you go.
Try not to cover the.
That was weird.
You just want.
I went to go reach to the right the shifter.
You just want to.
I'm just gonna go down the neighborhood. Turns real easy.
Does it feel weird driving on the road?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I can hear the speedometer cable.
I was gonna say, when's it gonna shift?
All the leaves falling off the roof, but it's got a hesitation. Didn't want to.
Shift might be
I
cold.
don't know if it's because it's so cold. Oh, that's another cul-de-sac. Darn.
Pretty sure you can make this one. I'm gonna seat sliding around.
Almost.
Did it again.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it needs to warm up more or...
A little warning. There, Chip.
I think it just needs to clear itself out. Right, actually. Jeez. Let these kids go. They just need cleaning and adjusting.
Yeah, there's no telling how long it sat on a boat, too.
Yeah, it's acting better now. The more we drive it.
Hmm?
So the more we drive it, the better it's acting.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn around too much.
I think there is some business right here.
Somebody's house. I'm not even looking in the mirror. It's somebody's house, but it's going to be a turnaround.
I think my dad used to say, don't turn the coffee on when it's thin. I wonder what the point of that is.
What? Is that backup alarm?
Yeah, I mean, for us, you know you're in reverse.
Is it only inside the cab? Yeah, it's getting better the more you drive it.
You feel better already with the right hand, or is it getting better, like more used to it?
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be weird getting used to like. It sucks that the mirror's turned out so far.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
I can't see nothing out of it. Yeah,
There it was.
I don't even know if you can reach it. It's so far
I
up.
think I can grab it. There we go.
There, oh, perfect.
How's that?
That's actually perfect.
Okay.
This one actually at least the touch.
Hey, windows work. Good.
Do one more pass or?
It's up to you.
How far you want, like, bring it over the wheels?
Going back home.
Okay, try to find something to clear out that back tape because it's still tinted, but I think it's still in pretty good shape. I'm gonna spill some water or something like that.
So I tried to do a time lapse through all the boring stuff, but as you'll see here in just a second, when my youngest knows that the camera's on, she has to just keep being in front of it and trying to mess with it the whole time. So here we go. She's enjoying dropping leaves and singing around it.
So smell. So smell. Oh.
Making like every bit of noise she can right there. Oh yeah. If I want to use it all the same.
Okay, yeah, I would really do better. Okay, let's see. Alright. That looks so scary. It's
Keep it straight, you're good.
It looks so warm in there.
You want to go for a ride real quick?
Yeah.
Come on, over this side. Take her for a ride real quick.
I don't have to.
Now just watch your feet. Got it? There. Okay, you'll see it here, and it's something I didn't even realize or know or find out about until after having it for a day or so. But these automatic transmissions do not like to move until they've warmed up, and apparently somebody says that it has to be like it even says it in the manual that it has to warm up some. So you can see it kind of struggling to get moving because it was just cold, it hadn't warmed up yet. But later on, after I do some work on it, I realized that if you do let it warm up, it's a whole different vehicle. Like even when we were test driving it, it hadn't warmed up enough for it to be a smooth driver. But once you let it warm up now, it's actually pretty peppy for a little 64 horsepower 3-cylinder turbo. Alright, well here's some more boring time lapse, but this was really just me and Kyle kind of looking it over and laughing about how small the turbo was and how little the motor was, and just kind of really checking it out and looking it over.
How's your speakers at?
Oh, I don't know.
I heard the radio
heard
was
it,
on
yeah.
when we were.
You got me?
Turn it on. The CD player?
Yeah.
So you put system on and CDs there.
Where the hell are they at?
Is this a CD? What is this?
Oh yeah, he said there was a Japanese CD in here.
That's even better.
I like it. It's like Japanese metal. It's very cool.
I hear
no
it, but
fucking idea what these Japanese.
I hear it, but I don't see it. I need a flash. I need a reflect. I don't have a flashlight. You see a flash.
Looking at the engine department. Oh, really?
Oh, there
They're
it
on
is.
the side of the-
Right on the side, dog. Looking right past it.
Yeah.
That's cool. There's a little tray there. I guess that's a drip tray for the AC.
I don't know what this is.
It's the AC.
Oh, is it?
That's funny.
You got some Japanese metal.
That is too funny.
See somebody that's some little kid
Well, of course,
cruising.
there's no lock number on these things. So hopefully YouTube doesn't kick the sound on the video just because I was letting that CD, it was a burned CD that was in the CD player, some kind of Japanese metal or rock stuff that was in it. It was actually pretty good though. I'm guessing that it probably hasn't been put in four-wheel drive for either ever or in a long time. I actually like this CD. Like I listen to it, I'm like I don't know what I'm listening to, but I like it. It sounds good.
Put the hubs back.
Yeah. I'll take them apart and lube them up. It feels like this one's
real loose over here.
engaging. It's kind of tighter, it was easier to move before. Yeah, that one's not moving. So it's just putting all the power to this wheel. So I didn't video the first part of it because I was talking to other people while I was doing it. But the first half an hour or so of having it home, and after testing out four-wheel drive and it didn't work, I took the hub apart and it was the gear was stuck. So I took it apart and cleaning it up. Getting ready to put it back together now.
Daddy, can you clear up the leaves right now?
Yes, please. Yes, I will. I wish I had have recorded when I first pulled it apart, just to show how rusted that gear was set into the hub. But here it is. I'm kind of cleaning stuff up and greasing it up and putting it back together. But I didn't realize that there was a spring out of place, and so I kind of, you'll see later, I did it 2 or 3 times trying to fix it. Let's open this driver's side one up and see how that looks. Hopefully it's not as rusted as the other side was. This one wasn't rusted, but it's definitely needs to be lubed and cleaned. So because this one came off easy, I actually saw where I put the other one back together wrong. I didn't get this outer spring behind this retainer on the other one. So I got to take that other one back apart and get that back in there. But that should be easy. Okay, maybe I didn't put that one in the right position. Something I need to remember to do more of is talk to the camera to explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it, and I keep forgetting to do that. So I took this one back apart because I put it in the wrong position, but it wasn't really that it was in the wrong position. I had the spring out with the handle, the lock-unlock knob turned into the wrong position, and it took me a little while to realize that I needed to twist the gear down onto that so the handle was matching the gear position. But even so, once I figure it out and fix it, I should have done the other side and fixed it while I had this one apart so I could reference how the spring was sitting, because I still did that one wrong multiple times, and when I did fix it right properly, I never even recorded that part. Maybe I'll do another video later on showing how to seat the springs in the right position with a kind of up close view. If you could see my face right about now is when the light bulb finally clicks and I realized what I was doing wrong. Okay, I think I got it now. Let's try that again. There we go. So free, and we'll put it in lock. Let's go over and see what we did wrong on the other one. Hopefully we'll get this one right now. I don't know what I did wrong with it the first time, but now that I've seen this one open and put back together properly, I think I can probably get this one working right now. Okay, I get it. Get my glove out of there. There we go. I think I got it. This is probably a useless video because nobody can see what I'm doing, and I don't really know what I'm doing. It's been years since I've worked on a manual hub. To add to that, in the process of taking it on and off a couple times, I actually pinched the gasket on that one, and so I'll have to order some new ones. So when I get the new ones in, I'll take both hubs apart again and clean them really good again, and I'll make a good video of that showing real up close on how to realign those springs and all that, now that I know where they're supposed to go and what I was doing wrong. I think so. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll find out. We'll go drive it. See what it does. Okay, I'm not sure if I got that or not. This one, I still don't think I have that spring in the right spot. It feels like it locks it, but maybe doesn't unlock it. I'm not sure. But I couldn't see a way to latch it in. But I'll take them apart another day. But let's go see if four-wheel drive works now. So in this part, I still hadn't realized that you need to let this automatic trans warm up before you go driving it. And you can see it in this. It has no power to do anything other than just roll. Can you tell me if the tire on that side's spinning? On the front? Cool. Stand over there. Move over there, son. Move over there. Back there a little bit, so you're out of the way. And you just tell me if that front tire's spinning. Okay, that's good. It's working now.
I'm just taking out for a walk.
Four-wheel drive works now. Of course, you can't see the other side spinning, but I'll take you over to that side so we can see. Definitely needs some suspension stuff to help it flex a little bit, and some grippier tires and a tune-up. You can see that tire. Okay, so it definitely needs some better suspension, better tires, and some lockers, and a tune-up. It's definitely really weak on low RPM, which I'm pretty sure these things are anyway, being 3-cylinder turbo. It feels like it doesn't spool until about $3 grand. But let's look at some flex that it's got, or lack thereof. But you can see it was spinning that tire when I was going on the other side. And this one started spinning when I stopped. But we're almost touching mud flat. Well, like I've said already, this thing needs a lot of suspension stuff to help it flex a little better, and some better tires, and probably a locker, at least in the rear. And I'm pretty sure tune up and some other things, freshen it up, give it a little bit of love, probably some fresh gas, but eventually it'll be fun. Okay, so me not knowing anything about these Jimneys really, because the turbo spool's around $3 grand, for it to feel like it has any power to get up on top of anything in four-wheel drive. You kind of have to power brake it a little bit, like hold the brakes a little bit to spool it up, and then it like easily just jumps right up on top of it instead of spinning and like just sitting there like it's not going to do anything. So that low end power is just non-existent. But once it gets into like the 2500 RPMs, it jumps right up on top of stuff. Again, I was still a little bit wrong on that. It was just because it was starting to warm up a little bit more, but it still hadn't got up to a good operating temperature yet, just because it was cold and I hadn't been running it long. So here's another, I got too excited doing things before I decided to start recording. And all this started because I looked at the intake pipe that went from the intercooler to the throttle body, because it looks kind of deteriorated and was starting to get a little bit like it was collapsing on itself a little bit. And so I pulled it off to look at it and saw a bunch of oil residue in it, and decided to start opening up other hoses and stuff going on the intake system. That poor little motor's nasty. That thing is disgusting. Nasty. It's like chunks of stuff just falling off. Oh, we'll get it cleaned up. Okay, so I've had this parts washer for years and never used it. A friend of mine had it in his garage and he never used it and then gave it to me. Of course, I didn't pick up any good cleaner to try it out, but I'm going to try mixing up some Simple Green and a little bit of water, because it says it needs 3 gallons minimum to run, and I only have a gallon of Simple Green, so but I want to get this valve cover cleaned up. We'll get moving on it. Hopefully we don't have too much of a problem with it foaming up, but I have a feeling it's going to foam up really bad. See if we can get another gallon or so of water in it. Hopefully the Simple Green has enough power to cut this crust and funk that's in this. I don't think it's going to be strong enough, but not diluted like this, but we'll see. Go see if I can find a brush. So it's working. It's working. Not as good as I'd like because it's so diluted. Simple Green does good, but being diluted like this is not as good as I would like. And I probably should have just gone out and bought some good parts washing solution and went and picked up brushes and stuff that I needed instead of being in a rush wanting to just do this. But it'll work. I'll let it soak overnight, or I'll let it soak when I go to work, and finish it up tomorrow. But get all the loose stuff that's falling out now out of it, the way it can soak. So back to what I was talking about earlier, I started pulling all this apart because I found oil in that one tube, and then pulled the rest of the hoses apart and found oil residue in those also. And then I found that the hose coming from the valve cover to the intake stuff was almost completely stopped up, which made me want to pull the valve cover to see how that was, and then found that the CCV system or baffle that was in the top of the valve cover is completely stopped up. So that's what I'm working on here, is trying to clean all that stuff out of it and just get everything cleaned up so it can start soaking. And eventually what I end up doing is letting it soak overnight, and I'll talk about that later. But I'll let it soak overnight to hopefully break down some more of that stuff, and it does. And then I also resort to using the torch and kind of like burning the stuff out of there and banging on it, hitting it with the hammer and stuff to finally get everything loosened up that will fall out of it out and out of the little holes in the baffle. Turned out to be a bigger task than I thought it was going to be, but I couldn't find a replacement valve cover online anywhere. And I actually am going to order a new valve cover gasket, but I want to wait and see what other parts I need to order from Japan, because that's not something you can get in the US. So. Alright, well, the tray that's in this thing is still not completely clean, but all the passages are finally open. The rest of it cleaned up okay. I mean, it could always go a little better, but I'm gonna let it soak overnight, and hopefully that'll break up some more of the stuff that's in here, and then I can try to blow it out, because it's riveted in and I don't see any way of taking it out and being able to put it back. So I'll probably blow it out with some air now, and then let it soak overnight with the pump turned off, and just hope for the best tomorrow. The intercooler's got a lot of oil residue in it too, so I'm gonna try to rinse it through. Can't hurt. One thing I can say, if I ever get a bigger garage, I'm definitely getting a bigger parts washer with a bigger basin, because using this little one, I'm just making a mess. I got cleaning fluid all over the table, all over myself, everywhere. But I end up cleaning this intercooler up some and then letting it soak, and then I ended up putting all the hoses and everything else in the solution too and letting it all soak overnight. Okay, so I thought I had recorded doing a final rinse with that old Simple Green on all this stuff and showing you how I was rinsing all the big crud out of this PCV baffle, or I don't know, I really don't know what the proper term for it is, but I got a lot of that stuff out of there, but of course I didn't hit record, so I didn't get it. Anyway, I just dumped this old Simple Green stuff out, and I didn't get any actual parts washer. I got some Purple Power. I'm gonna use a little bit just to clean this, and I got some Brake Clean and some other stuff. But this powder coating that they've got on this thing is terrible. I'd already scraped all of it off the outside because it was falling off, but the inside was good. But now, after soaking, the inside's all peeling off too. So I'm going to get that cleaned off real quick before I put more chemicals in it. And one other thing I'm bad at doing is double checking that the camera position is right. I tried getting a nice overhead shot showing what I was doing better, and in turn I didn't check that the frame for holding the phone is actually in view. But oh well. Well, I understand why they when I looked up the information the other day to see what kind of chemicals were safe for this pump, that it showed it was discontinued because the powder coating sucked. So here I'm using a wire wheel to kind of clean up the outside surface of the aluminum just to get it brightened back up, because letting it soak in that Simple Green, it kind of discolored it and almost gave it like an oxidized look a little bit, slightly, and just stained it with the oil residue from that was suspended in the solution, but it cleaned up nice. I think burning this stuff actually worked best on getting everything to start breaking free. I guess because it dried it up and turned it into crumbly stuff instead of being like a more of a goo. Because once I started doing that and tapping on it, I could just shake the stuff loose and I could just hear it rattling around. I mean, I still use some chemicals to rinse it through, and then I would burn it again. Well, after parts washer and brake clean and some fire and beating on it with a hammer, I think I finally got all the loose oil buildup out of the tray. I need to really look up, see what that's called. But it's part of the PCV system because it doesn't have a PCV valve. But it was stopped up and just so full of sludge. But I've got all that cleaned out now. I can't shake anything more out of it. And I use the wire wheel here just to clean it up a little bit. It's not perfect. It's gonna get dirty anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think it's a stainless wire wheel, but it cleaned up nice. You know, there's nothing more falling out of it, so that's a plus. Of course, it took 10 times longer than I hoped it was going to. So I'll unfortunately, I gotta get ready for work now. So tomorrow I'll try to clean the head out and I can start putting this thing back together. The intercooler cleaned up good. I mean, I didn't clean the outside of it, but it looks like all the oil residue and stuff's out of the inside of it. It's got to be better than it was. I cleaned between the fins just to get any debris that was out of that. And all the hoses and stuff cleaned up nice. That one that goes from the intercooler to the throttle body needs to be replaced. It's too deteriorated. I mean, I'm going to put it back on for now, but I may look into getting a silicone hose replacement. I saw some that were for sale in Japan that were with the red. That's kind of ugly, so I don't know. I may just find some black silicone adapters because it's two different sizes and put a piece of aluminum tube in between the two. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Anything's got to be better than what that thing is. So here I am cleaning up the head, getting all that loose debris out of there and kind of just giving it a little rinse over. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought. It just had to build up in the corners. I'm putting everything back together. Takes a little while. Some of the stuff's kind of hard to get to. Everything's so small and compact. It's actually kind of hard to get my hands in there to work on some of the stuff. But anyway, get it all put back together. And the guy I got it from had given me plugs and wires, cap and rotor for it. They all cross-reference from a Geo Metro or Sidekick or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but this electrode's longer on that side. I don't know if I'm going to have to trim that down. It's the only thing I see different. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. See how it runs when I put it in. Worst case, I'll clean the old one up and put it back in. It don't look too bad. So I decided to run that new one, even though the electrode was just a little bit longer. But I started putting the new cap and rotor and stuff on, and the new wires, they're CarQuest ones, and they just didn't seem to fit real well. They were too short, really. They would work, but I didn't like them. So I just cleaned the old wires up. All the ends on them seemed good. They were just dirty. So I cleaned the old wires up and put those back on. And once I got everything back together, it actually ran really well. Better than it was before. And also understanding that the trans needs to warm up makes a huge difference on the way this thing performs when you drive it. But here I am just kind of cleaning everything up before I put the airbox back in, and then I decided to, once I get it all put back together, I decided to spray it down with some Purple Power. So it was a little slow to start, kind of rough starting, but that was just because I had sprayed that throttle body cleaner down inside of it, so it had was probably flooded a little bit until it finally cleared itself out and started. But here it is, spraying down with Purple Power and then giving it a good rinse, just kind of degreasing everything. That way I can kind of see it doesn't really have much leaks. The valve cover was leaking before, so I was kind of cleaning that residue off just so that I can see what new, if any, new leaks pop up. Now I just let it, I started to back up and let it kind of warm itself up and kind of just dry some stuff up a little bit. I let it warm up for a while and drove it around, and it's so much better now. And also now knowing that it needed to be warmed up before I drove it makes a world of difference. This thing runs and drives so nice. I'm super happy with this thing. Well, and like everybody says, like, share, subscribe. This video should have been 3 instead of one long one, but the next ones will be probably broke down into about 20-30 minute videos. And but doing these videos has definitely helped build my motivation back up to get out in the garage and do things, which I was lacking that big time for a long time. And these things have been a lot of fun, and hopefully they'll only do anything but get better. I got a big project in the garage that I need to finish up for a buddy of mine, but as soon as that's done, I've got a lot of cool projects lined up ready to go, so there should be some good stuff coming. So stay tuned, let me know what you think, and leave me some feedback and what I should change, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.